Nation! Zach Edwards here with another Tutorial Tuesday. This one is when we're talking about the American Revolution. Now, this game is awesome. One of the critiques that we received from the Historical Conquest is that they placed their cards down and they didn't move, and they didn't like that. It was just it was a critique of someone's opinion, which is fine. We're all about opinions. We want you to be able to give us your opinion so we can tell if we need to change something, because we want to make the most perfect game. So, in order to make the most perfect game, we actually took his advice, and we wanted the cards to move to some extent. Again, this is not a board game. This is not where you move pieces around the board to get to your ultimate goal. This one is where you're still trying to take over, not the world, but the American continent. So you're trying to take over the 13 colonies and the 7 territories that make up basically the American Revolution. In the American Revolution, instead of having a land pile and drawing from your land pile, again, these are my prototypes, that's why I don't have a backside. Instead of drawing from a land pile, you actually get divvied up 10 lands, and your opponent gets another 10 lands. So you basically shuffle them out, you go 1, 1, 2, 2, and such, until you each have equally spaced. You don't know which ones they are, they're completely random, of which lands you have. Then you take your lands. So I get Massachusetts, I get Delaware, I get Maryland, New Hampshire, Hudson Bay, Connecticut, South Carolina. Your opponent's doing the same thing at the exact same time. New Jersey, where's my New Jersey? There it is. Georgia, and Rhode Island. Now I get all these lands, my opponent gets the other half. Again, these were all divvied up randomly. So now that I see which lands I have, I can create my strategy of how I want to attack my opponent. Now, most of my lands, besides Nova Scotia, are either in the north or central. So my opponent's going to have all his lands down here, and most likely his forces, and I'll explain forces when it comes. So I'm not going to really defend New Hampshire. Let's see, where's New Hampshire? Okay, New Hampshire. I might do Hudson Bay because it gives me all this area above. So Hudson Bay, I might defend. Maryland, no, it's more central. It's surrounded by my own cards. I don't need that. Delaware, another one central, because I want to focus my forces in certain areas. So the first thing to look at is, do I want to take up Nova Scotia, or do I want my opponent to be able to have a chance to put their cards in there, their armies in there? So I'm going to place some people in Massachusetts so they can attack Nova Scotia right away. So Massachusetts, I'll grab that card. Oh, sorry, it's right here. And also, in order to transport people, you have to have them in the same land, and only one can be transported per turn, unless a card says otherwise. So I'm going to, the most southern state that I don't have is New York. So I'm going to probably put people in New Hampshire as well, so I can take over New York. And of course, you would not tell this to your opponent. You want them to keep them guessing. Now, you know they're going to be attacking northward. The question is, do you want to give this ground up? Do you want to put your forces here to take these 2 lands and then move slowly south? So Pennsylvania will be another one that you're about to attack. Here's another hint. Here's a strategy when it comes to the American Revolution game. This whole area, stretching from some of the most southern colonies, all the way up to touching New Hampshire, that could attack any one of these lands. So if somebody has the Indian Reservation, the Indian Reserve of 1763, that's the land that you want to be able to attack right away, as soon as possible, because you want control of that land. Whoever controls that has a great advantage over all their opponents. So I'm going to try to focus somebody down there to attack that. But at the same time, I can see that New Hampshire, where I'm going to be putting some forces, is also attached to the Indian Reservation. So I'm going to put a lot of people in New Hampshire, because that can both attack New York and the Indian Reservation, or Indian Reserve. So I'm just going to put the 3 cards that I'm going to be focusing on. The other ones I'm going to put over here because I'm not using them. I'm not filling my armies in those lands. So I have them, but they're not being defended, which means my opponent can attack and take them by the roll of dice. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to worry on where my strategy is going to be. And right now my strategy is going to be up north and the Indian Reservation, or Indian Reserve, sorry, of 1763. So, to start off, you have a draw pile, just like you did with Historical Conquest. You put it face down, and you grab 5 cards off the top of your deck. Now, in these cards, oh, I didn't shuffle them. I know because I grabbed 4 politicians all at the same time. Okay, so in this deck, I'm going to shuffle these, put them face down, and I'm going to grab 5 cards off the top. So in these 5 cards, I could have armies, I could have politicians, I have an author, and I have leaders, much like Nathaniel Greene and Ethan Allen. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I strengthen these lands, Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So I'm going to put Ethan Allen in New Hampshire, and then I'm going to put Nathaniel Greene in Massachusetts. Then, in order to increase my morale, now in this game, morale does not win you the game. You can get to 3,000 morale, you don't win the game. This is completely a domination game. You want to be able to take over and push out the British or the colonists. Yeah, in this game, even the British could win. So I played my 3 cards in this land. I would increase my morale. Now on the new mats that we're making, that will come out with the actual game, you'll actually have a morale counter on one side, and your opponent will have a morale counter on the second time. So in this game, you don't have to buy 2 mats. It's 1 mat, but it's only a 2-player game. When in the future, we're going to actually come up with the French influence with all the French leaders in the game, and you can play as the French. And the French can take over the colonies as well. We're also going to bring in the Indian influence, the Native American influence. They can come in and attack as well and take over the American Revolution, all the colonies and territories. So watch out for that. This is really cool. This is how we're expanding this game. But as of right now, it's just the British and the colonists. Now, in order to attack, you have to have 1,000 morale points. If you get below that, you can't attack your opponent. So, every land you get, you look on the abilities, it's if you take this land, increase your morale by 100 points. So everyone starts off with 1,000 morale points, so they can all attack. Again, first 2 rounds, you cannot interact with your opponent, much like Historical Conquest. It allows you to build up your colonies. So I got these 2 lands, and I'm focusing on my people in there. I'm increasing their numbers. Again, at the end of the turn, much like Historical Conquest, you're grabbing enough cards. So I would have had 2 left. I'm grabbing 3 more. Hey, look, this time I got an army. So I'm going to place that in Massachusetts. Now, say my opponent is in North Carolina, and they decide that they want Georgia. Now, there's no one defending Georgia, but they don't just walk into the land and get it like Historical Conquest. Here, they actually have to take a die and roll it. If they get a 1, 2, or 3, they don't claim the land. So I got a 1, I would not have claimed the land. If you get a 4, 5, or 6, you can actually take the land for yourself. Now, yes, I have poker chips here. These are not standard with the game. So in this game, we actually have in the starter deck that is the American Revolution. And there's multiple decks that come with the American Revolution game. You have the British, you have the colonists, and you have the game deck. In the game deck, there's 2 really thick cards where you can actually punch out the coins you're going to need to play the game. Now, these coins, the ones that are in the game, are actually 2-sided. The reason why they're 2-sided is because one side is red, the other side is blue. So, and you get to claim, and it will actually tell you which colonies these are for. So these are going to be fun. These are going to be your own punch out coins, we'll call them. Sorry, the coins will be punched out. You can punch them out and then place them on your game, and then you can put them back in the card, so you can put it in the deck and hold it for next time. So that's really cool. You can actually store it in the deck and you don't have to have this big mess of coins everywhere. So going back to what I was saying, sorry, lost track, going on a rant. So when somebody takes your land, you take that coin off, somebody else puts their coin on. Or if you're playing with the cards when they come out, not the prototype, you basically just flip it over. So it's either red or it's blue. And as they go, again, like Historical Conquest, you can attack twice per turn. If you attack a land that's unoccupied, you're going in there and rolling your dice. You can, again, roll twice. If one time you get a 6 or a 4 or a 5, you can take that land. If you get on the first roll, you can actually go for a second one. And so you can claim a lot of lands right off the bat. Or you can attack your opponent, land to land, the ones that have characters in them. And just like Historical Conquest, I would count the defense points because I'm defending. My opponent would count the attack points. And whoever has the highest points wins. And if I lose, I'd have to discard someone to the discard pile. Another great thing is, with this, if I'm attacking and one person goes away, if say Ethan Allen sees that he's going to be destroyed, that they're going to attack, before they attack a second time, he can actually evade the attack by retreating to an adjacent or a colony next to that one. So they have to be attached. So in that way, we didn't have people just attacking until they died. We had people retreating all the time in the American Revolution. So in this game, you can actually retreat from the colonies that you're at and try to rebuild your strength before your opponent attacks again. So this is a great way of learning the American Revolution. You'll actually learn about all these people. Everyone from the Camp Followers, Nathaniel Greene, Ethan Allen, Thomas Paine, Caesar Rodney, James Otis, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, George Washington, all the British. You're going to learn all these people, and you'll actually know who these people are by playing the game. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of how to play American Revolution, a Historical Conquest expansion game. Until next week, another Tutorial Tuesday on the way. Thanks again. Take care. Bye. If you have any comments or questions, add them to the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow actually. Take care. Bye.